So apparently, George Clooney is being criticized for demanding Joe Biden quit the presidential race back in the summer. And shortly thereafter, the Democrats got all riled up, and all the heavy hitters, the bigwigs in the party, including Nancy Pelosi, all basically ganged up on Biden apparently and forced him to quit the race. And he then swiftly appointed his next in line, which was Kamala Harris, to take the reins. And so they're all saying that it was this guy, Clooney, whose letter, I think he did an op-ed in the New York Times, correct me if I'm wrong, but that this, or maybe it was the Washington Post, I don't know, but it was catalytic in, getting the Democratic Party to make such a, consequential decision to replace Biden in the middle of the election cycle. And is that a fair blame? Is that a fair finger pointing? I mean, I don't really know. I don't know how these things work. I do remember Clooney, hearing about Clooney's letter. I did not read it. And, and he's a powerful figure. Obviously, he's a billionaire. He's a very high profile actor, activist. His wife is very high profile, a very successful international lawyer. And people, this is gravitas. People are going to listen to George Clooney. Nobody listens to me. They should. But everybody listens to people like George Clooney, right? And so, yeah, I think to some extent, yeah, it might be fair to criticize what he did. Because let me tell you something. I mean, I'm like I've always said, I have a very low IQ. I'm nobody from nowhere. I know nothing, right? I laugh like a hyena. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm very smart. I'm very astute. I'm very wise, right? People don't understand that about me. They see me laughing and cackling and they think that that's all I am, is this one dimension. There's another side. When I study something and I really look at it and you need me to analyze it, I can, as well as, really brilliant people, right? In a very simple way. And in this election, I saw immediately that it was the biggest mistake in political history, American political history, to replace Joe Biden with Kamala Harris to go up against a candidate like Donald Trump when you don't have any kind of extenuating emergency that would put the American electorate in a panic, because the American electorate has to be in a total full-blown panic mode to elect a candidate like Kamala Harris at this time in the country's history. They're not ready for that. No, they're not ready for it. They're not ready for a woman, and most certainly they're not ready for a woman who's not white, and one who is not white and she's a woman, and her character, her personality doesn't inspire the kind of confidence in their leader that these people want to see. These people, being the American electorate, have always elected a white male as president. Doesn't mean that they're racist or sexist. It's just what they're comfortable with, right? And if you're going to try to change that like you did with Barack Obama, something has to be there to make them a little bit panicked, and then other things have to be there to push that candidate over the line. Barack Obama had a white mother, right? He was able to parade his white uncle on that stage. He knew how important those things were, and he played those cards subtly, but he played them, right? And because Bush had had all kinds of things going on, and I don't even remember, but there was so much going on with the Bush administration. People wanted George Bush out, Saddam Hussein, weapons of mass destruction, this, that, and the third. People were fed up with the Republican Party and with George Bush, and they wanted something different. And there was the timing of Barack Obama. He seized on that moment, and that's how he was able to get over the hump with support from people in very high places, such as Oprah, who at that time was in her heyday, right? Timing matters. It matters a lot, right? And so when you are going to go up against a populist candidate like Donald Trump, say whatever you want about Donald Trump. This man is not a frickin' idiot. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get people on his side. He has a following that you have not seen in this country's history. It's not just, people voting for this man. They adore this man. They will lay their lives down for this man. And you're going to put up an experimental candidate against him? A black woman? And I'm a black woman. I have said repeatedly, Kamala Harris is qualified to be president, but she cannot win at this time. This time is not the right time for this candidate. And when you have people like George Clooney, who's supposed to be intelligent, and his intelligent wife writing op-eds in the New York Times against Joe Biden. Joe Biden had a catastrophic debate against Trump. I was watching this. I was in the United States watching this with my family, and I was like gobsmacked, right? It was catastrophic. But if I'm running his campaign, he's not having any more debates. Did the same thing not occur with Donald Trump when he went up against Kamala Harris in a debate? Everybody, including myself, said that she won that debate. But winning debates don't mean you're going to win the presidency or that you even can win the presidency. She's a lawyer. She's a prosecutor. She knows how to debate. Trump is not a debater, right? And what did Trump's people do after that catastrophic debate? They pulled their candidate. They didn't allow for any more debates. Yes, Joe Biden is an old guy, right? But the American electorate elected him into the office of the president by, what was it, 80 million plus votes in 2020. The most votes for a president in the history of the United States. That should have told y'all something, right? Even if 80 million didn't show up to support this man, at least 70 million would have done it, right? Even if he had a catastrophic debate, even if they know he's old and he isn't probably going to make it through the next term, blah, 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 blah. They would have done it to stop Trump. They would have done it to stop Trump. But they weren't going to be forced to vote for Kamala Harris. They didn't even get a choice in the matter. The Democrats didn't even poll the electorate to ask them who should replace Joe Biden. You should have done that. People have a right to choose who they want to lead them. This was a mistake, right? And how dare George Clooney get up and make these kinds of statements and precipitate this rash reaction from the Democratic leadership. But it's not just George Clooney, because George Clooney, after all, is an actor, and he owns a tequila brand, Casamigos or whatever it's called, right? He's not a seasoned politician. Joe Biden had political handlers, people who manage his campaign, right? And there are other people in the Democratic leadership, like Nancy Pelosi, like Barack Obama, all of these people who also apparently forced Joe Biden to resign and replace him with a black woman, Kamala Harris. Now, every time I say this, I lose 10,000 people from my YouTube channel, right? Because people don't want to hear the truth. People can't handle the truth, right? And when you can't handle the truth, in the end, you get hurt. You get hurt, right? You have to face the truth and then decide, what am I going to do about it? And I'll tell y'all something, getting rid of Joe Biden was not the thing to do. Kamala Harris got 60 million votes. Joe Biden got 80 million. She didn't even get more votes than Joe Biden in even one state when she ran for president. She ran for president herself. She did not win even one state. This is speech, you guys. This is telling you something about how the Democratic electorate felt about this candidate from jump, right? And y'all are going to go and replace a man that got 80 million votes, the most in history, with her because he had a bad debate. Y'all, you deserve to lose. I'm sorry, Democrats. I can't be angry with Trump. Y'all deserve to lose. And yes, this guy, George Clooney, deserves a part of the blame because he has influence. And when you have influence, you've got to wield that with a great amount of responsibility. You can't just say whatever you want. I can say whatever I want. I have no influence. No one ever listens to me. Everyone should. This is the irony. This is the irony of the thing, right? You know who listens to me? Trump listens to me. Trump listens to me. I don't know how Trump. I've written a few books about Trump. I mean, nothing that's worth buying, but I've written a few books about Trump because, he was my hero. I still don't hate this man. I didn't want him to be president again, but I don't hate him. But in his first run for president, I am convinced. I had a political blog at the time. I am convinced that Trump used to read this blog. I'm convinced of it. I wrote to Trump from Paris at the White House. I don't remember about what. I only remember that he responded from the White House. He answered me here in Paris. I have the letter here somewhere. I think I wrote to Joe Biden. I never got a response, right? So I don't hate Trump. I just didn't want him to be president because I'm afraid of all that's going to go down in the next 4 years. But the Democrats, I don't feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for them. They brought this on themselves. And yes, George Clooney deserves a part of the blame. Anyway, that's all for this one. See you in the next one.